Thanks, Jen. This is Council President Stacey Kelly. We're going to begin our committee meetings today, Tuesday, October 13th, and we'll begin with Police and Fire with Chairman Pat Elliott.
Thank you, Council President.
Welcome.
I have Chief Mecklenburg on and Chief Saloom. Are you both on?
Chief Mecklenburg here. Yes, Chief Saloom's here.
Okay, Chief Saloom, you want to go first? I don't believe we have anything for you tonight.
Sure. This is Chief Saloom. I don't have anything in the folder. I just want to make everybody aware that we're giving our entrance exam for patrol officer on Saturday, October 31st at 10 a.m. The ad is online in cleveland.com and has been circulated to various academies and colleges. And that's all I have, Councilman.
Thank you very much, Chief, and good luck with that. I know the numbers are extremely low in a lot of the academies, and I can't really blame people at this point for not wanting to do the job, but I appreciate it, Chief. Chief Mecklenburg, you're up. Do you have anything?
We have the engine purchase that is on tonight's agenda, but that's it.
Okay, yeah, it's on for first reading this evening. There's no rush on this, correct?
Well,
I mean,
there isn't set for 3 readings. If there's not going to be any argument, then the quicker the better. We do have the company that we're going with, Sutphin, has contracts with Miami-Dade County and Palm Beach County in Florida. Their fiscal year started October 1st, so they're expected to put in somewhere between 20 and 30 orders for engines by the end of October. So if we could beat that to get into the queue so that we're not stuck behind them, that would be great. But otherwise, no rush.
okay. So we can leave it on for 3 readings. We don't have an issue with that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I don't believe we have anything else. Do you guys, either one of you have anything else you want to talk about?
Just piggybacking on what Chief Saloom just said, we just finished up our lieutenant's promotional exam. Those results should have been delivered to Debbie today. They'll end up with civil service this week to solidify that list, but that's about it.
Okay, great. Does anyone on my committee have any questions? Councilman Cooley or Councilman Martin?
Nothing at this
Martin,
time,
I have
brothers.
nothing.
Here, Councilman Cooley. Yeah. Nothing at this time, brothers. Here, Councilman Cooley.
Okay. Anyone else on council or directors? Anyone have anything for the chiefs?
Pat, this is Councilman Snitsky.
Go ahead, Tom.
I'm just curious. I know there's been discussions, but I'm not sure it was in an open meeting about financing the engine. And I'd like to hear either from whoever feels competent to talk about it, what the plan is to finance it. I know we had a couple different scenarios, and they may not all be finalized, but I think I'd like the people to know that we're out there that are listening, that we're being innovative as far as financing this. So whoever wants to speak to it, go for it. Thank you.
This is Chief Mecklenburg. I'm sorry.
Go on.
Go ahead, Mayor.
No.
Okay. We are looking at lease to own option with this so that we're not stuck paying the full amount at once. We're going to go with a 10-year lease, at the end of which we'll own the vehicle outright. That 10-year lease is at a rate of somewhere around 2.3%. So that's the plan.
Chairman Elliott, this is Mayor Bianciata.
Go ahead, Mayor.
I'd just like to add first answer Councilman Snitsky's direct question.
This has been talked about, and all of it was always in an open meeting. Every time it came up in finance, the question was answered like 3 times. I just don't want anyone in the public to think that there was discussion outside of a public meeting. So this is the 4th time we're talking about the financing. And we are going with the lease package because it gives us an option with no penalty to prepay. One of the other things we might be looking at is potentially rolling this into a note along with some of our other big purchases to take advantage of the historically low interest rates, which right now are between 1.25% and 1.5%. So we can afford it, and we're keeping all our options open by going with this lease to purchase route. So we can pay it all off when we want. We can extend it over 10 years, or we can take advantage of low interest rates and take a bond or other municipal note on this. And the option that Chief Mecklenburg has put on the table allows our finance team to exercise any of those options which we deem are best. Thank you, Chairman Elliott.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd also like to add that it's a lease to purchase, but I believe that we own the vehicle outright as soon as we take possession of it. Isn't that clear?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just so, people don't think that in 10 years we don't own the vehicle, but we actually do own the vehicle, even though we're making payments on it. So thank you, guys. Any other questions for the chiefs?
Pat, this is Tom again. Those were very good and succinct answers. Maybe we want to do this on an emergency just so we don't get backed up against the end of the month for the chief to do everything he needs to do to get his purchase in there.
Chief, do you need it done on an emergency?
I would love to have it done on an emergency. That will be the difference in probably around 3 months delivery time. That would be the difference between getting it in a year and probably even closer to maybe a year and a half. So yeah, I would love to have it on an emergency.
Okay, can I suggest that we have the first reading tonight, and then possibly the second meeting we can add the emergency to give it a couple weeks? Is that okay?
That's fine with me. No, I'm okay if it's on emergency on the second. That's fine.
Okay, because that would be at the next meeting, which would be the end of this month.
Be the 27th, Pat.
Yes, so that would be okay. I think that would be fair in case we have any questions arise from residents.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you, Tom. If there's nothing else, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 6:08. Can I get a second?
Councilman Cooley, I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Elliott?
Martin, aye. Cooley, aye.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President. We're adjourned.
Thank you, Chairman Elliott. Moving on to Public Works with Chairperson John Coolio.
Thank you, Madam President. There's nothing. We'll open Public Works at 6:09, approximately 6:09. And as far as I'm aware of, there was nothing in the folders per Carol, Council. Does anybody, Engineer Collins, is there anything that may have been missed or anything that came up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Engineer Collins here. No, not at this point. No, nothing was missed. Can provide you with just you and the members, a couple updates on some of our stormwater projects, if that's okay.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay. The Donna Ray drainage improvements is completed. The contractor finished last week. Not sure if yourself or any other council members drove that area near Olive Drive on Donna Ray. What a big difference. Now we're waiting for some big rainfall to make sure it works. No, I'm just kidding. It'll work, and the residents are definitely going to see an improvement and not seeing as much, if any, overland drainage flowing right at their homes. Skyview Drive is well underway. Storm sewer outfall improvement project. That project, I would imagine, is going to be done in probably about 2-3 weeks. And there's quite a few other projects that are going through design right now with our engineering consultant, AECom. As you know, Mr. Chairman, every Thursday, the mayor's water management task force meets at 2 o'clock. You've attended quite a few of those meetings. You kind of have a feeling or a feel for what kind of projects we're working on. And I can tell you that all those projects are moving forward. And, you know, we're chopping at them one at a time, trying to get a couple of them out to bid this year yet. The Cheryl Ann Drive Culvert project is we're hopefully getting ready to bid that out within the next couple of weeks. We have a meeting follow-up with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District just to make sure that they are on board with our proposed design, because upstream they're doing some stormwater work on that forest overlook. What is that? Donna Ray Drive. Some of the property acquisitions job that they're working on, where they're going to be restoring the creek and floodplain in that area. They're also going to be doing some work on a culvert underneath Donna Ray. That's going to make sure it's compatible with what we're doing on Cheryl Ray Drive. So that meeting is going to be occurring hopefully within the next few days, actually. Hopefully by the end of this week. I'm waiting to hear back from them. Okay. Trying to think what else that we got going on here that I can give you an update on. The Waxbury Detention Basin, the service director was working with the contractor, and Jack can maybe speak to it further, is complete. I believe there's some minor restoration work that still has to be done. They excavated, off the top of my head, I don't know how many cubic yards of material out of there just to restore the capacity of that detention basin. So it's, you know, back to original design conditions, so it doesn't overflow. And it also allows our service department to easily maintain it now. They have increased the size of like this cage. It's a trash rack that goes on the outlet pipe. And it's actually nice. We'll be able to, once we get to our large storm events, the debris that's washing from upstream into this pond eventually makes it to the lowest part of the pond, which is the outlet pipe, the storm sewer. And now it's got this like large trash rack. It's like a cage they created. And what it'll do is it'll prevent anything going in the storm sewer. So that's a positive. So that's right now the majority of the projects we're working on. Again, there's a few other projects behind the scenes they're working on that are early design. So if you have any questions or any other members had a question that you want to answer or anything for you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Engineer Collins. Director Johnson, is there any comments or anything that you'd like to discuss this evening?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. And in addition to what Mr. Collins shared, it's 125 cubic yards of sediment that was removed from the Waxbury Retention Basin. In addition to that, we have under contract with Davie Resource Group to remove invasive species in the two retention basins in front of the Recreation Center, and as well the pavers around City Hall, removing all of the vegetation from those pavers, and the bioretention basins that are on the edges of the parking lots around City Hall. They're under contract to remove all of the invasive vegetation from those stormwater management devices also. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. To go along with that also, too, just a quick comment on that. Both the mayor and Director Johnson and Engineer Collins and I drove out to watch part of the project in the work process over on Allen Donna Ray, and it was. I'm glad I got an opportunity to visit the site while they were working on that, because it was kind of interesting, you know, the work that they were doing out there. So, anybody on committee have any questions or comments? About on council? Administration?
Chairman, this is Mayor Biassiata.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to add to what Engineer Collins and Director Johnson have shared. Talk about what council can expect in the next month or so. This is very important. I hope I have everyone's attention because it also deals with finance and the utter importance of protecting the general fund, which should be a hot topic and of concern of every single council person for the city of Seven Hills. Or even further, it should be of a concern to everyone that considers themselves a leader in Seven Hills. And there's quite a difference between being a leader and a politician. More on that later. Last week, the Finance Committee of Council passed a small engineering bill to cover three projects. Okay. The need of that engineering was because the projects themselves are large. I want to speak to three projects on our horizon. We have all sewer related, all of which everybody is deemed sewers, flooding, and backup is a priority of council. Certainly of the administration as we form this task force, almost right out of the gate when the new administration took over. We have the Bayberry, Firethorn, Waxberry spot repairs coming up on the horizon we'll be bringing to council. The estimated range of these repairs are $380,000 to $460,000. We have the Cheryl Ann Culvert, of which we're going to be repairing. Estimated range $300,000 to $450,000. We have the Kelvin Park Detention Basin. Estimated range $320,000 to $450,000. So these three projects, which will be coming to council, hopefully this year, are going to range between $1 million and $1.4 million. This will exceed the balance in our sewer maintenance funds. And as a priority of the cities, we'll have to look for other source. And when we do not have other source for these many priorities, the general fund is the backup. It's the catch-all. So if sewers and water management is a priority, we're going to have to go into the general fund to fund these three projects this year. Share this to give you advance notice of what we will be bringing to the table so you can prepare. But I also share this to illustrate how every aspect of the city works together with every other aspect of the city, and that it attempts to bifurcate and single out is not afforded leadership. You have to look at the whole pie and how they interact and what we consider our priorities are and how we're going to fund them. Thank you, Chairman Coolio, for this time.
Sure, Mayor. Does anybody else have any questions or comments at this time?
Councilman Coolio, this is Councilperson Kelly.
Yeah, Madam President.
Thank you, Chairman. I just have a question in regards to the mayor's comments. If we're going to be, going forward with the related sewer projects and potentially dipping into the general fund, how will this affect us? I know there was discussion from the mayor and certain council members about moving forward with the roads program in 2021. How will that affect us, if at all?
Chairman Coolio?
Yes, Mayor.
There'll be no effect because we are talking about paying for the the road program out of the road maintenance fund, which is a non-general fund. And those funds can only be used for road maintenance or resurfacing.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Thank
Chairman.
you, Mayor. And you're welcome. Anybody have any other questions or comments? Okay, being none, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn Public Works.
Curriasis motion.
Can I get a second? Councilman Snitsky?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, thank you. So, all in favor?
Curriasis, aye. Snitsky, aye.
Councilman Cooley, aye. So Public Works will adjourn at 6:21.
Thank you, Chairman Coolio. Okay, moving on. We will go forward with community services with Chairman Phil Curriasis.
Oh, thank you, Madam President. Call to order the community service at 6:22. And we have a guest tonight, Stacy Boychuk, the manager of the Parma Snow County Library. She'd like to speak tonight about issue 70. Stacy, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to share information with you tonight about issue 70 on the November 3rd ballot, or earlier if you're voting early. As was mentioned, I'm Stacy Boysick, and I'm the manager at the Parma Snow Branch. And Cuyahoga County Public Library's issue 70 is a 1 mil continuing levy request. Issue 70 will enable the library to continue to serve you as the nation's top-rated public library system. The last time the library asked taxpayers for support was in 2008. That's 12 years ago. And the library is mainly funded, as you know, by property taxes. And since 2008, revenue from local property taxes has decreased by 14%. Cuyahoga County Public Library's current 2.5 mil levy is the lowest millage of any public library system in the county, and the library has cut costs year after year, reducing expenses by about $4 million annually, but we've reached a point where additional cuts would drastically affect service. So issue 70 will enable the library to continue to operate our 27 branches, preserve evening and weekend hours for students and residents who need access to computers and a reliable internet connection, make necessary safety and security updates, sustain a robust materials collection, and maintain critical services like after-school homework help and training for job seekers. So I really just wanted to take just a couple minutes of your time. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share the information with you.
Any committee members have any questions for Stacy?
Councilman
Anybody
Cooley,
on council? Oh. Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I'd like to thank Mrs. Boysick for coming to our meeting and giving us a little background information about issue 70. I do appreciate it, and good luck to the issue. I hope it passes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stacy, for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, Tony Terry?
Good evening. Thank you, Councilman. Good evening, everybody. I have no update that would be any larger than what we had discussed on the community service monthly report that I turned in. Nothing new beyond that at this time.
Anybody on the committee, Councilman Cujo or Councilwoman Kelly, have any questions for Tony Terry?
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Anybody on council?
This is Councilperson Kelly. I have a question for
Go ahead.
Director Terry. I was going to ask him on the status. What is the status of the community services room?
So currently the community service room has been painted. We are awaiting the carpet to come for installation, and we have replaced some light covers at this point. So we're headlong into it. The group of us who have been working on it have really spruced it up. It's definitely got a beautiful look to it. Did you get a chance to see it when you were last in?
No, I seen, the last time I was there, you guys were discussing color swatches for the carpeting. And I just didn't know if, you guys had moved forward with it at that point or not. But that's exciting. I'm glad to see. Also, too, not to interrupt what you were saying, but at some point a while ago, I think council discussed or even approved the purchase of new chairs for that room.
That is correct, Council President. Yes, Council last year had approved the purchase of new matching chairs for that room. We are set to receive those chairs or place order for those chairs for the end of the project. So the project will consist of new chairs, and it will consist of paint and new carpet.
It already looks, I can't wait to show you the next time you're in, because already the color is just, it really lightens up the whole place. It gives it such a much nicer feel. We should be able to rent that out on a very regular basis moving forward.
That's good news. Thank you for the work on that.
My pleasure.
I have one more question, and I don't know if you can answer this or if I have to direct it to the mayor, but do we know what the status is on the gazebo? Are we moving forward with that this year?
I am not involved in the requisition and installation of the gazebo, so I would defer to the mayor at this time.
Mayor, do you have any thoughts on that, please?
Chairman,
What?
this is the mayor. May I have the floor?
Yes, you can. Go, Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman. We hired an architect to lay out the plans for the gazebo so that it be done appropriately and the architect can answer any questions that council may have. We're going forward with the Hillside and Broadview location, which was the subject of the public meeting that we had when this was unanimously approved by council. I asked council for opinions on the location several meetings ago. We didn't really get a consensus that evening, and since this is on a timetable with the March 31st deadline for it to be complete or we lose the grant, we're going forward with architectural plans for the Hillside and Broadview location. The ETA for construction of the gazebo will be as soon as the weather breaks in 2021. To not lose the grant, the funds only have to be encumbered before March 31st, 2021. So if we have an approved contract for the installation of the gazebo anytime before that date, we are good to go. But we hope that this gazebo will be ready for the residents to use spring of next year. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anybody else on council have any questions for Tony Terry or the administration? Okay, thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Okay. Yes. With nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn community service?
Councilman Cooley, I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Councilperson Kelly, I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Kelly, aye.
Cooley, aye.
Okay, community service adjourned at 6:29.
Thank you, Chairperson Kyriazis. Okay, we're going to move on to finance at 6:30 p.m. I have one thing in my folder. It looks like a request for a consent agenda item. And this is for outside legal counsel in the amount of $35,000. for various vendors. Another blanket order. I just have a question for Director Petruniak, if I could, please. Are you there, Director?
I am.
Okay, great, thank you. It looks like back in June, Council approved a blanket order in the amount of $50,000. Do we still have those funds? Or is this in addition to? I see that this actually, the approval for the $35,000 is asked for January of next year. January through December 31st, so the whole year of 20. Oh, okay, this is for the remainder of the year, I see.
That's correct. We are running low on funds on that purchase order that was opened in June. Therefore, we're bringing this back to you to increase that purchase order. We're hoping the $35,000 will get us through the rest of the year. But we may have to, if not, we're going to have to come back for additional funds as well.
Okay, I gotcha. Any questions from the committee members? Council members? Is there a motion to add this to the consent agenda?
Martin, so moved.
Delacuilla, second.
All in favor?
Delacuilla, aye.
Martin, aye.
Kelly, aye. This is approved for the consent agenda. I have nothing further in my folder. Is there anything else from our Finance Committee members? For Finance. Any comments or questions from Council? Comments or questions from the Administration?
Council President Kelly, Mayor Biassiata.
Mayor Biassiata, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The September financials just came out today, but I'd like to give everyone an update on the August financials. At a real high level, if we're looking at all revenue year over year, that includes some timing stuff, but we're up $653,000 in total funds. In total expenditures, which also includes some timing, we're about $2 million below last year. But taking all timing and accounting entries, I'd like to talk to our general fund expenses. Through August, absent any kind of accounting and timing, we're at about $7.1 million in general fund expenses against a plan of $8,054,000. So we are approximately $950,000 below our budgeted amount for the general fund through August year to date. The impacts of COVID. We froze spending way early in the year, not knowing what to expect. You are all aware of that. Very successful in those efforts, as the numbers just illustrated. From some specific line items, our property tax is down about $200,000 compared to last year at this time. The number probably most related to the COVID impact. While early projections were in over $1 million, year to date through August, over last year, we're down $308,000. And then there's fees that we would have collected from our recreation center, members, summer camps, swimming, and things like that, that total $224,000 in fees that we would have normally collected at the rec center. Now, the good story there is that it's been offset by lower expenses and completely offset by the budgetary savings. As I mentioned, we're $950,000 below budget on a positive front yet into the August numbers. We have about another $600,000 in CARE funds that have been approved by the federal government, but the city has yet to receive. So that'll soften that impact and improve an already decent-looking financial picture for the year 2020. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I just have one question real quick, please, if I could.
Please?
The $600,000 in CARE funds, does that have to be paid back?
No. This is Mayor Bianciata. No.
Oh, great. Okay. Okay, thank you.
So, if I may, Madam President?
Go ahead.
All the CARE funds we receive will offset either direct COVID-related expenses, such as all the additional cleaning we had at City Hall and the Rec Center, a number of other items for cleaning, sanitizing our vehicles, extra staff at the Rec Center, management time attending meetings, and the remainder of this will go towards our first responders, which we had legal guidance from the Treasury Department that we were able to use the COVID CARES Act funds for first responders' salaries. That's all I had on that subject.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate the update.
Chairperson Kelly?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Councilman Martin, for the mayor real quick. Mayor, the CARES Act funding, I'm assuming that's not reflected in the current financials at this time until received?
This is Mayor Bianciata, Councilman Martin. That is correct. The additional 600, and I'm speaking in generalities, if the finance director has the specific number, through August, is not reflected in the numbers I shared with you. The second round will be in the September numbers in my next update, and there's a third round that's already been approved, and that'll come later in the year. But the second and third round is not included in the numbers that I shared this evening.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome.
Any further comments from council? I'm sorry, who is this?
Yeah, Chairperson Kelly, this is Finance Director Petruniak. Just to confirm that, we're due to receive a total of $772,000 in CARES Act funding. We've received the first two rounds of funding through September. Those revenues will be reflected or are reflected on the September reports that were just sent out this afternoon. And then the third round of funding is scheduled I think we're scheduled to receive it this week. That's another $417,000. So that'll take us to our $772,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. I appreciate the update. Any further comments for the Finance Committee before we adjourn? Okay, if there's no further comments, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the Finance Committee at 6:39.
Delacuilla, second.
All in favor?
Delacuilla, yes.
Martin, yes.
Kelly, yes. Finance Committee is adjourned at 6:39. That wraps up our committee meetings. Carol, are you on the line? Council Clerk Carol?
I'm here.
Can we go right into the council meeting from here, or do we have to wait till 7?
We have to wait till 7. It was posted as such.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. I guess we'll hang up and dial back in at 7 p.m. Is that okay, Jen?
Yep, not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.